Thrilled to introduce you to our presenters today. I'll start off with Kristen Peters. Kristen was an accountant for multiple restaurant groups in her 15-year career before joining R365 in 2023 as a solutions engineer. She has implemented and used R365 in previous roles and ultimately decided to join the company to expand her work as a restaurant accountant and help others get the same benefits the platform offers. Kristen lives in Colorado with her teenage daughter and their horse, Chili. Chris Cole is the director of AP Payments Fulfillment for R365. He began his journey in the industry as a server and bartender, later leading sales and marketing for a craft brewery in Fort Worth. He launched his own food truck and a handful of other businesses before joining Restaurant365 in 2019, where he helped establish the R365 Payments product. Known as the godfather of payments, Chris remains a key driver of innovation and client success and prides himself in the relationships built with clients and the impact our software has on customers' lives. And last but not least, Ashley Shagrin began working in restaurants at age 12, doing bookkeeping for her family's business, and later held various roles, eventually working her way up to manager. After transitioning into accounting for a software company, she joined R365 in 2017 to lead accounting implementations and then launched the customer success team in 2018. Ashley left in 2019 to grow and sell her own business, returning in 2023 to support enterprise clients before joining the payments team. She lives in Southern California with her husband, two daughters, and their dog Rue, and is passionate about helping restaurants run more efficiently, something that's always been close to her heart. And with that, I'll pass it off to our presenters. Kristen, to you.
Excellent.
And
Thank you
here's,
so much.
thank you.
Just a couple quick housekeeping notes for everyone. Uh, we welcome your questions. Please do add questions by clicking on the question mark in the toolbar on the side of your screen. We will answer as many of them as possible, either during the webinar or after the webinar in the Q&A section. You will, of course, be receiving the recording following the presentation. And if you need help, you can always contact us at marketing@r365.com. So a quick look at our agenda here. We're going to answer the question, what is R365 Payments? Also answering the question, why firms are choosing R365 Payments? How does it maximize value and minimize overhead? And what does it look like to get started? And then what does support look like after you're live with the platform? Followed, of course, by that Q&A that we were talking about. So the first topic is, what is R365 Payments? So Chris, can you kick us off by explaining what R365 Payments is and how it works?
Absolutely. So R365 Payments is part of our AP automation suite. We have seamlessly built this into the R365 accounting platform so that you can automate payments, meaning that you can oversee them and send them to our team so that you no longer have to manually create those. So on a given banking day, if you submit a payment before 4 p.m. Central Time, the following banking day, we're going to pull the funds using what we call the good funds model. We'll talk about that later. We're going to hold those funds for 48 hours, and then we're going to send those payments out on your behalf based on outreach that we've done to vendors to find out what payment method they prefer. So we're trying to optimize things with a virtual card, preferably. If they won't accept a virtual card or it's going to cause some kind of an issue or they are going to substantially change anything with the relationship of the customer or yourself and that vendor, we're going to get them onto ACH instead. And then if they won't accept either of the other two modalities, then we'll send them a check. So we're going to get that all out for you as soon as those funds have cleared. And then we have a payment reconciliation aspect of the service. So we've used logic in the system in the form of bank rules to be able to go through and automatically match these transactions up for you so you don't have to manually do that. And while all of this is happening from submission all the way through clearing, you're going to be able to track all of the payment statuses from the AP transactions grid without ever leaving R365. So the whole concept of this was we don't want to have additional portals. We don't want you to have to go anywhere else. You don't have to leave R365 and you can do the entire process from start to finish. So as far as those payment methods are concerned, we've got the virtual card. I did say that that was the optimal payment method. We are going to work to get vendors onto that because A, there are no transaction fees associated with that payment method. B, it's the safest way to send an electronic payment. And C, you get residuals coming back from that in the form of rebates that we are going to send back to you or the customer. So it's one of the fastest modalities at 4 banking days. If a vendor again isn't able to accept that, or they were going to charge fees, for instance, or change terms in any way, then we would try and get them onto ACH. Or if it's a vendor like a landlord, people like that that absolutely need to have an ACH, we can get them onto that. And then for those mom and pops out there that are still old school and they don't want to receive anything except for a printed check, we can get them a check. It's going to take a little bit longer, but again, it's still in a reasonable amount of time in those 7 to 10 days.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Chris. What's the biggest difference that our users notice right away when they switch to R365 payments?
I think it's definitely ease of use and efficiency. For the most part, what we've seen across the board is that it really jump starts the ability to go and make payments quickly, efficiently, much faster than if you're stuffing envelopes yourself. For instance, I had a customer last week who was spending 30 hours a week doing payments alone, and we got them onboarded and they confirmed that they're now down to 2 hours a week. So just think of all the time savings and what you can do with that extra time. That's a whole person's salary for a week, just about going to doing payments that's now reduced down to 2 hours. So what else can you get done in that time? It's really phenomenal.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to echo that with my own personal story from my own history. The last concept that I worked at, I was the accounting manager, had a team of 3 underneath me. We were managing accounting for 65 locations, 65 corporate locations. And my AP person, much like you're describing, Chris, every Thursday for years, like her whole Thursday was creating payment runs, approving payment runs, printing checks, stuffing checks, all the things, every step that you need to take to get that done manually. The first time that she went and finished her payment run with R365, she came up to my desk at like 10 in the morning on her Thursday. And I mean, literally had like a little bit of tears in her eyes. And she's like, Kristen, I'm done. Like, this has taken me till 6 o'clock every night, every Thursday for the last like 5 years. And it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm done. So yeah, I will echo that for sure in practice. Thanks so much
Absolutely.
for that, Chris.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next topic, why are firms choosing R365 payments? So Ashley, what do you think is driving our firms to make that change?
I think ultimately it's just a one-stop shop. So everything lives within the client's databases. There's no need to jump between systems. We don't charge per user, so your entire team can access the system without worrying about added fees per user. Our pricing is fully inclusive. That means that implementation, training, ongoing support is all part of the package. One of the biggest advantages, as Chris kind of mentioned earlier, is vCard. Not only is it the most secure payment option, but it also generates a revenue share. In most cases, the revenue offsets the cost of ACH and check fees, so clients often end up with a credit back to their services. And finally, our new SaaS pricing includes unlimited ACH at no additional cost.
Can you
For
tell us a little
payment,
bit? Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, can you tell us a little bit more about that good funds model?
For sure, thank you. The good funds model means that we verify and secure the funds before any payments go out. This helps prevent failed payments. It protects you and your vendors. To stay on track, payments have to be submitted by 4 p.m. Central. Once submitted, we debit the account and we hold those funds for 48 hours to ensure they clear. From there, the total processing time is listed on the right side of this slide. It's 3 to 4 banking days for ACH, 4 days for vCard, and 7 to 10 banking days for check. Another awesome tool that we have is fraud prevention is in place. So we perform positive pay on your behalf. Each day, our team reviews any flagged checks, comparing the amount, payee, and check number against R365 payment records. If something looks off, we'll proactively reach out to you to confirm before anything moves forward. Next slide, please. We also offer automatic bank matching. So once you perform a payment run for R365 Payments, it'll show up in your bank activity feed here with a little M that's shown in this screenshot, and you can just match it. So we're going to perform that matching on your behalf. And then we also do real-time payment status updates. So we keep you informed every step of the way throughout the payment process. In the new navigation, you can click into each AP payment and it'll show you exactly where that payment is in its journey. You'll see statuses that are listed here, like scheduled, processed, funded, cleared, which means the vendor has cashed the payment. And so this gives you a window in knowing what's happening behind the scenes when to make that payment.
That's so helpful, Ashley. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
What kind of ROI or time savings can the firms actually expect to see once they get going?
Such a good question. Beyond the V card rebates, which often result in a credit back to your R365 service, the biggest ROI comes from reducing the cost and time tied to manual payments. So in both those stories that you and Chris shared, we're just cutting down the time for manual work. On average, restaurants spend about $3 to $4 per check when you factor in labor, postage, materials, printer maintenance. With R365 payments, checks are $1.79. So you're offloading the entire fulfillment process and you're cutting the cost in half. And to that, the operational time savings, no printing, stuffing, mailing, and the ability to scale without adding headcount. It's not just about savings on the checks, it's also about just giving your team time back to do more strategic work.
I love that. Thank you. So moving on to the next topic, maximizing value and minimizing overhead. So Chris, we've really talked a lot about the time savings, right? How does this also help firms to increase their value to clients?
Absolutely. Great question. So we have talked at length about the time savings, which are great and phenomenal. It goes beyond just what we've talked about with the kind of standard fare of managing payments. We consider ourselves to be like another member of the AP team. So let's say you have a vendor who reaches out to you, they have a question about something that's happening with a payment. You can forward that email on to our support staff, and they will actually interact with the vendor on your behalf, make sure that everything's handled. So it goes beyond just the simple being able to go in and make a payment inside the system. We're really supporting you in all ways with the product. But it's reducing that time that's being spent. It's freeing up time to do other things that may be more important, especially once you realize how simple this is. It allows firms to be able to deliver more strategic, high-value services, so you can focus on other areas of the business where you might have been spending time, again, stuffing envelopes or communicating or uploading files to send ACHs. It gives real-time insights into the status of these payments. And again, our support staff is so good that you're seeing fewer hours, you're getting payments out faster, you have safer payments because the virtual card, again, is the most secure way to send payments electronically. So you don't have to worry about fraud in those cases with the virtual card. It's really next level on that side. And so it's freeing up capacity for the firms to be able to take on more business and grow that book in compliance with what we're doing. So it also creates a more consistent process across multiple clients. So if you're managing multiple, like I know many of our partners are, it's so much easier than, okay, I know that this firm over here is using this particular style, and then I have to change it up for the one that I go to over here when I log into their database. All of it is consistent across the board, and it really makes for an easier transition into handling AP.
That's so helpful. Thank you. I did
Yeah,
want to
you're
ask one
welcome.
more question before we move on to the next topic, Chris. Can you just share a little bit more how the rebate feature works and how our partner firms are benefiting from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as soon as a vendor is enrolled for virtual card, any associated spend that goes along with that payment method is going to result in rebates being credited back to the account on the R365 payments bill. So as soon as we've gone through that process, we get them registered, you start making payments, you're going to start earning on that. It's really pretty much a no-brainer as far as it's concerned, based on all of the other factors that we talked about previously. But what we've seen throughout the history of the product is that with just as few as 10 to 15% of vendors accepting virtual card, between the offset of it not having a cost associated per transaction and the rebate, you're seeing value immediately, but that's also enough to not only offset those costs. Normally, it covers what you're paying with the other methods, and we see in a lot of cases where customers are earning credits back in excess of what they spend on the other payment methods. And so you end up getting paid to use the service. And to me, that's really a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's amazing. It really is. So now that we've talked about what it is and how it works and all the benefits and everything, let's dig into how do we get started. So let's talk about onboarding. What does it take to get started with R365 payments?
Yeah, so once we get started, it's simple as outreach to the sales rep to be able to get everything flowing. We send a kickoff email and a link to go to our partners portal, Meow, to input what we call KYB, KYC information. So that's know your business, know your customer. You may hear that mentioned if you go through the process. That's just gathering the information on the businesses to make sure they're legitimate so that we stay in compliance. We know exactly who is paying what and with which issuing bank accounts. So we get all of that information up front. Typically, that takes 1 to 2 weeks to be able to gather all of that, depending on customer and client responsiveness. After those 2 weeks, we move over into a vendor enrollment process. So as soon as you go through this and start the implementation, we assign a coach to you who's going to hold your hand through the entire process. So once you get to this third week, you're going to be on a call with them. They're going to have already pulled a vendor review data from the database. So it's just a list of all the vendors who are being paid. They're going to categorize that for you and let you know what information is needed to be able to enroll those vendors. They're going to take you everything that's associated with that, and then they're going to submit that for matching and processing. So that whole process gets going while the vendor enrollment team is handling that aspect, and they're actually contacting those vendors to try and get them signed up for that V card. We're going to go ahead and work on the configuration in the database. We're going to get everything set up so that it's functional. All of the bank accounts, legal entities, everything is ready to go, and the payment methods are set up for those vendors you've specified you want to pay. So we get all of that going, then we're going to schedule a go live call once that's ready. We're going to walk you through everything on how to be successful, from submitting the payment to tracking those payments and their statuses while they're being processed, to matching in bank activity after that's done. So we're going to give you everything from soup to nuts and show you exactly how to do it so that you are in fact successful once you start using on your own. And from there, we're going to give you about 6 weeks and then come back in to do a check-in call, follow up, and answer any outstanding questions that may have come up while you were using the service. So we really want to make sure that you are comfortable, you've got all the knowledge, you're ready to go, and you're doing well using it, at which point usually there's a CSM on the call and we'll hand off to them, but we also give a resource document with links to all of our various support teams so that you can get to them directly and they pick up the ball from there.
Excellent. Thank you. So it seems like a pretty simple process. Do you have any stories or examples of anyone that had like a particularly smooth or fast onboarding?
Yeah, I do. And this is horrible to say because it sets the bar so high for so many things. But we had a partner, actually, GSS, who went through, and they were from the beginning explaining exactly how and when they needed to get set up, and they were highly motivated. So we did everything that we could. We got their information. They were super responsive. They already filled out everything that we needed in Meow. They got the vendor review right to us. We went through and did the configuration the same day they sent the vendor review, and we were actually able to get them live making payments in 7 days. Now, they were also comfortable knowing that we weren't going to have vendors enrolled in that short amount of time, but they were ready to get them going. So we were sending checks. They were okay with that until we were able to start getting vendors registered for virtual card and ACH as well. But yeah, it was phenomenal. I don't know how we did it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything in 7 days.
Right.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
So in terms of the presentation, the slideshow, et cetera, that wraps up the webinar. but we do have time for some Q&A. I do see a couple questions have come through. Are you guys ready to kind of handle a couple questions?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Excellent. Excellent. So the first one is, so we talked a lot about the V-card rebates. How do they actually show up for the firm? Like, is it monthly? Is it annually? Is it on your invoice? Is it separate? How does that work?
We bill for AP payments monthly, and it'll show up on your monthly bill for payments. So what we're seeing a lot of times is that the V card credits will offset the usage on checks and ACH. And what that means is you can apply that credit back to your regular R365 services.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Let's see, next question. So because we're talking to our partner firms here, how can they manage AP for multiple clients? Is it from a single logon or dashboard, or how is that set up?
Yeah. So it works the same way as what we were describing earlier. It's fully integrated into the accounting system. So it really just depends on how many URLs there are that they are managing. If there's a joint database where there are multiple different entities that have been combined into one and they're managing multiple clients from that, then they can issue payments all directly from that one URL. Otherwise, it's just going to be based on the individual URLs that they're using. But again, part of the benefit of this product is that it is all inclusive into the R365 instance. There are no additional dashboards or portals that have to be used. It's just log into that URL, go and select the approved invoices that you want to pay and click send. So managing it is by far easier than a lot of the other options that are out there.
Agreed, 100%. So next question. So what happens if a vendor doesn't deposit a check?
So our team is monitoring any uncleared checks. Once it hits the 180-day mark, we are going to return those funds to you and we'll notify you via support ticket.
Excellent. Next question. Is there anything that like we can do to help get vendors enrolled for virtual card? Not our 365, but like as the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. For customers and firms alike, whenever I'm on calls, I'm always letting people know that this is a dance. Vendor enrollment is multifaceted. Sometimes vendors are responsive, sometimes they're not. But with you being their customer or the client being their customer, there's that relationship there. So the more outreach that can be done on that side proactively, the better it is all the way around. Now, that's not required. We'll go and reach out to any vendors that we get information for and do our best to enroll them. But we are fully prepared to provide resources. We have email templates that can be sent out. We can give you a script that you can use for calling and proactively letting them know. So if you're going to be on with them anyway, you can let them know that you're working with R365 and that this is legitimate and that this is how you would like them to be paid. And so all of those things make it easier, but we support from our side. If you support from your side, we can all get together and it's a win-win-win all the way around. Considering the vendors are getting their payments faster in the most secure way possible, they just want to get paid. For customers and firms, it's the best because they aren't paying anything for it and they're getting those rebates and they're sure that it's getting paid. We don't have to worry about fraud mitigation, the issues that you can see with some of the other payment modalities out there. So, all the way around, we just want customers to be successful and it's a win-win-win.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next question is, and we touched on this a little bit, but maybe y'all could go into a little more detail. The question is, do we continue matching payments to AP, or does R365 do the matching? So I think this is in reference to like the bank activity screen.
Yeah, I'll take that one, Chris. We do the matching on your behalf. So it'll show up in your bank activity feed and it'll have that M indicator, which shows that it is already matched for you. And you just have to say, looks right, and send it to the match tab.
Great. Okay, let's see what this next question is. Next question is, so we talked about, we went through the implementation slide. We talked about that success story that happens in 7 days. What would you say the average implementation time is, like from sign up to first payment?
I see that on average, we're usually getting clients live within 30 days. As long as they're going through banking verification timely and we're getting their vendor review within 30 days, they're live.
That sounds great. Next question, what are some best practices for helping the end client adopt this quickly?
It's all about preparedness and response time. So, like I mentioned in that 7-day onboarding that we did, that client was highly motivated. They had all of their stuff ready to go. They were in Meow doing the entries. They were getting us the vendor review back. They had everything set up in their R365 database. So the legal entities, the bank accounts, the vendors, they were all ready to go at jump. The faster we get responses, the faster we can help. We're here to support at whatever level you're at. So, if you're capable and motivated to get done in 7 days, we can potentially do that. It's just a matter of going through that process. Now, some of the aspects do take a little bit longer, like what I talked about with vendor enrollment. Usually we're seeing about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the responsiveness of the vendor. So we might not be able to have all of your vendors set up on virtual card in that amount of time, but the faster we get the information, the sooner we can start that process and be able to proactively get on that registration before you start making payments, especially whenever it's new customers that are coming on board or customers that are currently using a different provider that they're using for bill payments and they're trying to transition over. The more time that we have to proactively get ahead of that, the better for everybody involved.
Excellent. That's great. So the last question that I'm seeing is, who do we contact if we have issues with the product after onboarding?
Yeah, I'll take that one. We have a dedicated payments support team. So your first line of defense will be reaching out to support. Chris and I frequently also get on calls with clients. So our goal is to make sure that you're successful and basically be your outsourced AP team. So between general support and ourselves, we are here to help you make sure you're successful.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, and I did see one more. What happens if a payment fails or gets flagged during the positive pay review?
Yeah, so our job is to make sure that we're not letting anything be cashed that wasn't sent by you. If we had, for example, there was this one client, someone had intercepted their mail and we're signing the checks Michael Jordan. And so our team caught that. Obviously, we know that Michael Jordan isn't signing checks for that one restaurant group. So we didn't let those ones pass through. We are just trying to make sure that everything that is being cashed is legitimate. And if we are unsure, we will always reach out to the client to make sure.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your help, and this was really informative.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
thanks so much.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Kristen, if we could get to the next slide.
Oh, I clicked it on the wrong screen. My apologies.
No problem. So before we go, I wanted to let you all know that the restaurant transformation tour schedule is live. Before the end of the year, we'll be making stops in San Diego and New York. These events will feature sessions tailored to different roles in the restaurant industry, offering valuable insights and the chance to connect with peers. We definitely hope to see you there. Get your tickets. It's not too late, even for San Diego. So look into it. We'll see you. And otherwise, this concludes our webinar. You'll receive an email with a link to download the recording and listen again or share with your colleagues. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon. Bye.